ನಮಸ್ತೆ. ನಾನು ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಎ ಕಲಾವತಿ ಕಾಮತ್ತ, ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಮಹಿಳಾ ಪಾಲಿಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಮಂಗಳೂರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರಂಥಾಲಯ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ವಿಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಶ್ರೇಣಿ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸಕಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಈಗ ಡಿಪ್ಲೊಮಾ ಇನ್ ಲೈಬ್ರರಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಈ ಕೋರ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಬ್ರರೀಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, ಈ ಒಂದು ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವಂತಹ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಖರೋಷ್ಠಿ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್ ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ದ ಒರಿಜಿನ್ ಆಫ್ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಿ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್. There had been in India two major systems of writings, Brahmi and Kharosthi, of which the first was written from left to right, as are all the modern Indian scripts, except Arabic, which was introduced by the Muslim power at a later date, and the second was written from right to left and was confined mainly to the northwestern regions of India for a limited period of time, roughly from the 3rd century BC to the 4th century AD. Between these two major scripts of ancient India, Brahmi was undoubtedly much older than Kharosthi, though we cannot be certain of the exact date when Brahmi and Kharosthi were introduced into India. It seems likely that Brahmi was introduced in the 8th or 7th century BC, while the 3rd century BC seems to be the most probable date of the origin, the Kharosthi. The most indisputably datable specimens of writing in India found engraved in both the scripts are those of Ashoka, which belongs to the 3rd century BC, and they are found all over the country from the Himalayas in the north to the state of Mysore in the south. This shows how both the systems remained in use side by side at a certain period of time. But the influence of Kharosthi was almost negligible compared with that of Brahmi, which was the true national Indo-Aryan system of writing. In course of time, Brahmi therefore gave birth to the great majority of the modern Indian scripts used by various linguistic groups for their native tongues. As it implies, Brahmi, according to traditional Indian conception, seems to have come from Brahma, who is the source of all creation. Some, however, trace its origin to the Indo-Aryan, who, in their opinion, invented it for the preservation of Brahma or Veda. Now, whatever might be the exact cause of its nomenclature, the problem of its origin is still controversial and insoluble. Scholars are still sharply divided in their opinion with regard to the origin of the Brahmi script. Some trace its origin to foreign sources, while others consider it to be a true product of the soul. Suppose the foreign sources, A. Greek origin, then B. Semitic origin, Phoenician origin, South Semitic origin, and North Semitic origin. Then C. Pre-Semitic cuneiform influence. Greek origin. There was a time when most of the European writers were prone to trace in anything good or great in India to Hellenic influences. They included even such eminent scholars as James Principe, Royal D. Rochetta, Alfred Muller, Emily Chenard, Wilson, and others, none of whom could, however, offer any convincing argument in support of this pet theory. Moreover, neither the paleographic nor the literacy evidences lend any support to their views. Dr. David Diringer, a modern authority on the subject, rather refutes this suggestion when he says the Indians came in a direct contact with the Greek civilization only after they had been long been in contact with the other peoples using alphabetic writings. And the invention, if the Brahmi script seems to be at best 1 or 2 centuries older than the earliest Indo-Greek cultural relations, Dr. Buller also held similar views. Then B, Semitic origin. Some scholars consider the Brahmi alphabet as a derivation of a Semitic alphabet. But here also a controversy arises as to which particular branch of the Semitic alphabet is responsible for the evolution of the Indian Brahmi, whether it descended from the Phoenicia or from the South Semitic or from the North Semitic or Aramaic. Phoenician origin. Some scholars, notably Weber, Benfey, Jensen, and others who found a strange similarity between nearly one-third of the Phoenician letters and the earliest forms of the corresponding Brahmi signs believed on that account that the Brahmi was derived from the Phoenician alphabet, but their opinion cannot be accepted in view of the fact that there was no direct communication between India and Phoenician at the time when Brahmi script made its appearance. South Semitic origin. Those who thought that Brahmi was a South Semitic origin include such eminent scholars as Cannon, Taylor, and Deek. Their opinion was also cannot be supported on two grounds. First, there is hardly any resemblance between South Semitic characters and the Brahmi signs, and secondly, even though there might have been some contact between India and the Arab world, even in such early times, no evidence of any cultural influence of the later over the early Indian culture in noticeable until the advent of Islam. North Semitic source. There is another school that considers Brahmi to be of North Semitic or Aramaic origin. Dr. Bulher is the greatest exponent of this theory. David Diringer also considers the North Semitic or the early Aramaic alphabet as the prototype of the Brahmi script. The similarity between the North Semitic or Aramaic letters and the Brahmi signs and the original directions of the Brahmi characters from right to left, like that of the North Semitic letters, strengthened the conviction of both the scholars, even though they admitted at the same time that Brahmi was a no Slavish adoption of the early Aramaic letters, and that in the words of A.H. Dani, there is a considerable local genius visible in its formation. Dani further says that the most fundamental change introduced by the Indians is in giving a definite direction to the letters. The way in which alpha is changed into a lambda into la, etc. suggests that Indian Brahmi was written from left to right from the very beginning. David Diringer gives a further argument in support of his theory. He says that as the Araman traders were the first among the Semites to come in a direct communication with the Indo-Aryan merchants, the latter might have borrowed from the former their method of writing. But even though he did not consider the Brahmi as an independent invention of the early Indians, he, however, marveled at the genius of the early Indian people who elaborated to a marvelous extent a loan which they had received from others. Pre-Semitic cuneiform influence. There is still another opinion held by no less a scholar than Reis Davids, the greatest authority on Buddhist literature, who suggested that Brahmi script was derived from the pre-Semitic from the writing, namely the cuneiform used in the Euphrates Valley, which was the parent of both North and South Semitic alphabets. But unfortunately, his views are shared by no other scholars in the field. Moreover, there is no important literacy on paleographic evidence to lend support to his views. The below chart shows the close resemblance that Brahmi has with the first four letters of a Semitic script. The first column representing the Phoenician alphabet. Now, Kharosthi script. In nomenclature, Kharosthi, the second important script of ancient India, had nearly half a dozen different names besides the popular one by which it was universally known, as it had been the script of the Bactrian Greek rulers of India, which is evident from the coins bearing this script. It was sometimes called Bactrian and sometimes Info-Bactrian, as the language of these inscriptions was Pali. This script was at other times called Bactro-Pali. The Kabulian, by which it was known, also known probably owes its name to Kabul, where this script had been in a common use. Cunningham, however, preferred to call it Gandharian so as to indicate the whole area comprising eastern Afghanistan and northern Punjab of modern times, where this script was current. It had yet another name, Northwest Indian, which probably came from the vast area of its expansion in the northwest regions of the country. But the most familiar name, Kharosti, by which it is largely known, seems to have come from two main sources, namely Lalita, then Lalita Vistara, a Buddhist work which was composed in the 3rd century AD, and Fa Wan Shu Lin, a Chinese encyclopedia which was compiled in the 7th century AD. The meaning of the term Kharosti. Even though the name Kharosti was associated with this script from a very early time, the meaning of the term is by no means clear even now. Different explanations have been offered, but they are more or less shots in the dark. Some trace the name to a person named Kharosta, the supposed creator of this script. Others think the name had been derived from the Kharostas, a barbaric people like the Yavan Ash, the Salad and the Kusanas and the Turks and the Tibetans who lived in the northwestern boundaries of India. According to some other people, in its Sanskritized form of Kashgar, a province in Central Asia, where this script had been in use at a comparatively later period. There are others who think that the name had been derived from the Indo-Iranian word Kharaposta, meaning a skin. Indo-Aryan Khara meaning as, as, and the Iranian Posta meaning skin. The material on which this script was used for writing purposes. But the most popular theory is that the Aramic word karosta, which was used for this script, had probably, through the process of derivation, assumed the Sanskrit from karosta in a course of time. Now, whatever interpretation may have been offered with regard to the meaning of this term, none of them seems to be definite and accurate. The origin of the Kharoshthi script, like origin of the Brahmin also presents a baffling question on which scholars differ because of its direction of writing from right to left. It is now generally connected with the Aramic script, which is the main branch of the North Semitic alphabet. Moreover, as there is a close resemblance between some Aramaic and Kharoshthi characters such as Na, Ba, Ra, and Va, and as both the scripts have the common characteristic of the complete absence of long vowels. It is generally believed that Kharoshthi has probably descended from the Aramic alphabet. Besides, there are also some circumstantial and paleographic evidence such as the appearance of the Kharoshthi script in India after the Iranian invasion of the country and the discovery at Taxila of some pieces of stone bearing Aramic inscription, which point to only one conclusion, that it is of Aramic origin. This is the view of most of the Western scholars like Taylor, Bulher, and Diringer. This view has, however, been challenged by some Indian scholars who regard the resemblance between some characters of the two scripts as very remote and almost accidental and attribute the absence of long vowels in Kharosthi to other causes. The absence of long vowels in Kharosthi, according to Dr. R.B. Pandey, is due to the fact that Kharosthi was used for writing prakrit, prakrits, which avoid long vowels, big compound and difficult ligatures, and hence he concludes that the so-called common characteristics of the Kharosthi were due to its popular use and not due to any Semitic influence. As regards its direction of writing from right to left, he further says that the leftward movement of writing cannot be regarded as an absolute monopoly of the Semitic people. Indeed, in a vast country like India, the two systems of writing in two different regions might have been quite possible. There are, on the contrary, some evidences too forceful and concrete to be by passed or overlooked altogether, which clearly indicate that Kharosthi was also a product of a lot genius. For example, a complete absence of a Kharosthi document prior to Ashokan inscriptions belonging to the 3rd century BC in India and even outside the country emphasizes its Indian origin. The inscriptions which have been found out in Baluchistan, Afghanistan, and Central Asia are clearly later in a date, and it seems that they were carried there by the nearly Indian traders and missionaries. Moreover, as no document in Kharosthi has been found as yet in any other region of Central Asia except in the northwest of India, it is quite likely that this script had its rise and growth in that part of the land. From all these, it is evident that Kharosthi originated in ancient Gandhara, that is in the northwest part of India, and it was used to write the local language in which the common people spoke. Kharosthi, they remained in use for nearly 700 years, that is from 3rd century BC to the 4th century AD, mainly due to the patronage and support it received from the foreign rulers. Consequently, Kharosthi, though an indigenous product of a local genius, gradually fell into disfavor with the people and lost its native glamour mainly due to its long association with the foreign rulers and ultimately replaced by Brahmin, the true national system of writing in India. But whatever might have caused its decline and it is certain that so long as had been in vogue, it retained its popularity as a script and unlike Brahmi, it ever maintained a uniformity in the forms of letters, which naturally suggests the cultural compactness of the region. But even if Kharosthi was an independent and separate script, the influence of Brahmi over it was by no means insignificant, and this influence is particularly noticeable in the evolution of its vowel notation, localized consonants, and the formation of conjunctions. Both Brahmi and Kharosthi thus remained side by side for some time in two different parts of the country right up to the 4th century AD, when the latter was completely superseded by the former by dint of its more predominating influence over the whole subcontinent. Early Kharosthi documents. The earliest Kharosthi documents are the rock edicts of Ashoka belonging to the middle of the 3rd century BC, found at Manshehra and Sahajgari in the district of Peshawar near the old Indo-Afghan borders. The next in date are the Indo-Greek and Indo-Scythian coins belonging to a period varying from 175 BC to 100 AD. Two other Kharosthi documents written on the brick bark have been discovered, one from a stupa in Afghanistan and the other a Buddhist work named Dhammapada at Kothan in Chinese Turkestan, both probably belonging to the 2nd century AD. A few more Kharosthi documents written on various materials like wood, skin, and paper have been discovered since then by Sir Arul Stein in eastern Turkestan, and they apparently belong to the 3rd century AD. The latest Kharosthi inscriptions are of course, those of the later Kushanas, which probably belong to the 4th century AD. Thank you.